Hey everyone, welcome back to our channel. We're the Movie Couple. I'm Dustin.
I'm Wendy.
And this is our review for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Ethan Hunt and his IMF team embark on their most dangerous mission yet, to track down a terrifying new weapon that threatens all of humanity before it falls into the wrong hands. With control of the future and the fate of the world at stake, and dark forces from Ethan's past closing in, a deadly race around the globe begins. This movie has been talked about for quite a long time now. I mean, I can't exactly remember how many times it's been pushed back and how many fan theories there have been about it. We thought this was going to be Mission Impossible in space, where they actually take the film crew up into outer space, because that's the only place that Mission Impossible could go next with all of the crazy stunts, and it sounds like something Tom Cruise would try to pull off. But it very much does follow in the path of the previous Mission Impossibles. There is a new threat that is going to take over the world, and only Ethan Hunt and his team of misfits are able to stop it. But I have to admit, that's pretty much what we all go into for a Mission Impossible movie. I mean, Wendy, it is one of your favorite franchises. So how was your excitement?
I mean, look, I love a good mask pull in every single mission. I think I fell in love with the Mission Impossible, like the world of that, with the TV shows, like way back when, because it's like, my mom didn't really like allow me to watch too much TV. And then we have my dad, who is like the complete opposite. He'd be like, your mom's not home, you want to watch TV? And I was like, yeah, what are we watching? And amongst the things that he would show, it was like MacGyver, you know, I would watch that. I would watch
Star Wars.
What's the one with Kit and Michael?
Oh, Knight Rider.
Yeah, Knight Rider. I remember the name in Chinese, but I couldn't remember it in English for a second. Mission Impossible was one of those shows, and so like I really got into it. And then, you know, later on when the first Tom Cruise Mission Impossible film came out, I was like, oh my god. And ever since then, I enjoy following the franchise for the story, the espionage of it all, the crazy stunts, especially now that's really like part of the reasons why we go to see a Mission Impossible film is to see what insane stunt is Tom Cruise going to execute and still look perfect in every way. So, Dead Reckoning, Part 1, this is a huge film. It's obviously Part 1 of 2, so it's a big, long story. This is, I think, the longest film in the franchise so far, at 2 hours and 40 or something.
It was like, yeah, 2 hours and 35 minutes. I have to admit, this was a good chunk of time for a movie. Now, I don't know how much it compares to the other Mission Impossibles, but you know what? I do have to admit, there were some parts in this movie where after a huge action scene and they start doing some of the dialogue and they start moving the storyline forward, there were times about, you know, the second act or so where you do start going, oh wow, we still got a long ways to go on this.
Yeah, the second act is where it's stalled, but the first act kicks off with a bang. Like, in fact, the first few minutes, it's so good. It was like living up to my hype. I was super happy in my seat, just taking it all in. Sound design is incredible. There is a scene where they're in the desert, and normally in like a high action scene, they would, you know, put some like epic soundtrack over it. They didn't do that. They just used the environment and what was happening in the action scene as its own sound, and it really puts you in that like space with them. You felt like you were there. It was really incredible. And where we watched it was also in like it was an Dolby Cinema, so we like felt it, which I was like eating all up. I was like, yes, give me more of this, give me more mask pulls, and etc. Our usual suspects are back. Ethan Hunt, Ilsa, Benji, Luther, Kittredge is back. I love the team. I love Ilsa.
Yeah.
So I really enjoy getting to see her, you know, I think this is her third appearance.
Yeah, she's done a couple of them.
Yeah, Rogue Nation, Fallout, and now Dead Reckoning Part 1. But we also have some newcomers, Klementieff being one of them. And it was funny because, like, I watch her and she's not a character of many words, but she's kick-ass. I wouldn't mess with her. What's funny is, like, her personality to me, it was like if Mantis and Harley Quinn had a baby, that is Palm's character. I think her name is Paris. We have another character introduced in this one. Her character's name is Grace, played by Hayley Atwell, aka Captain Carter. And I enjoyed her character because it was fresh. It wasn't someone who was like, I've got a special set of skills, and I'm the new recruit that Kitcher just introduced me, and whatever. And the way she kind of stumbles on her on the team, kind of, she's the one that throws all these, like, she's like the catalyst almost in a way. In a way, and that also puts roadblocks in their way.
She's very much also the odd man out. She's not a part of this world. Mm-hmm. She's a thief. So when she kind of gets mixed up in this whole scheme, she's kind of like the pig on roller skates. It's kind of like, what the heck's going on? Kind of like how if we got involved in something going on with Ethan Hunt.
Yes.
But except she has some skills.
She has some skills. She's a good thief.
And one thing that I do have to admit is that wherever you could tell that everyone who's been a part of the Mission Impossible franchise before, they were on the same page. They all clicked very well. I have to admit, Grace, or Hayley Atwell's character, really did feel like the odd man out. I don't know if that was done deliberately, but it was definitely, she was the newcomer into the group.
No, because she's not a part of the IMF.
Yeah.
Like, at all. She was after the same thing they're after, even though their objectives are completely different, right? IMF is like, gotta save the world, gotta acquire this item, and for Grace, it's kind of like, I need the item so I can get paid, and that's it. So it's pretty straightforward and simple for her, and she's not realizing that by getting herself involved indirectly, now she's a part of something that's way bigger. So she does get to meet the team, and their dynamic is kind of an interesting one. So Grace, kind of, you talked about being like the odd man out. She's like, what is this, like, super spy world, like, with all your gadgets and stuff like that? What is this? I'm not used to it. Why am I in this situation, right? And where now there's, like, weird people chasing after me with swords. So with her character, they infused some humor into the into this movie. And now I'm not saying Mission Impossible doesn't, like, it's not like they've never had humor or that humor can't be in it. Humor absolutely have been in it before, and when they play up and break up those really tense moments, they are great. But the humor in this one, this film has the most humor out of any Mission Impossible film, and for some reason it felt really odd. Like, I liked a lot of the stuff, but I didn't super love, like, I felt like it went on too long, the comedy stuff.
I do have to admit, there are some moments in this movie to where it really feels like some of the characters are doing more of a caricature of their characters a little bit, to where, like, for example, Ethan Hunt just seems overly loyal at some point, to where, especially with Hayley Atwell's character, to where I'm kind of like, why would he be so quickly willing to, like, die for someone who is brand new to his team, or
she's not even on the team.
Not even on the team. And the humor that they did throw in there with Ethan Hunt did seem a little off. There were some moments that it just didn't quite click as well as some of the previous Mission Impossibles. It seemed, I said this in our Out of the Theater reaction, is that there were a lot of lines and a lot of delivery that seemed a little melodramatic, to where it seems like it was just a little over the top and a little bit like, I would do anything. And it was just like, oh, okay, this turn made a very big turn all of a sudden.
But aside from that, the action and the stunts obviously was popping. Like, it was definitely 10/10. Tom Cruise was Tom Cruising. Like, he is such a true movie star. Like, you give him anything and he can handle it. So I think with the second act, that's kind of where it stalled, because they were setting up the exposition and they're trying to develop, Hayley's character a little bit, along with other characters that we're trying to, like, avoid talking too much about, because I want you guys to find out in the film when you were watching instead of listening to us kind of explain it. But I think that's kind of what made it feel like that was the time I noticed the most people got up to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Like all at the same time. Like 15 people was a big theater. Like 15 people. I was like, whoa, everybody calm down.
It was very obvious on when the slow parts were going to start. And it was kind of like, okay, now's a good time to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
But I have to admit, those actions, there was some action, the chase scenes in there that were really good. One thing that I did miss, though, was that they didn't have as many gadgets as they normally do.
Part two. That's what I think.
True.
Yeah.
But, I mean, they had their, the mask, they had some cool little things here and there. But I love, the over-the-top gadgets, the coming in through the ceiling kind of moments. And there wasn't really some of those in this movie, but I think you're right. This is really the build-up for just the big finale in part 2. Who knows? Yeah. Maybe there's a part 3.
No,
I don't think so.
I don't think so. So yeah, the big stunt in this one is you probably have already seen it in the trailer, the motorcycle stunt that Tom Cruise does that involves a cliff. It involves
a cliff.
It is insane because as you're watching it, you can tell exactly when the gear started to turn on his face. Like he's like, okay, I got to multitask here. I got to be an actor. I got to find my angle. I got to find the camera. But I gotta perform this stunt because if that motorcycle was off even by a little bit, it could go very wrong.
Part 2.
Yeah. So as you're watching it, like anytime those scenes came around, I held my breath. I was like, okay, they're gonna be fine. They're gonna be fine because obviously the movie's out. They had the premiere. Tom Cruise was walking the carpet. People weren't hurt. But you can't help it because the way they shoot these sequences, they put you like in the driver's seat and you're like, oh my gosh. So that sequence is amazing. There's a train sequence that is so good.
Really good.
It goes on for a while to the point where I kind of almost felt like it was like John Wick 4 staircase scene, but not as long. But it was so good that I was like, we can keep it going.
Yeah. It was very intense. That was one of the moments that I was like, I actually felt a little tightness in my chest because I was like, this is really intense.
I had a really good time with it. It didn't feel to me, it was like, it's a great story, great cast, obviously great acting. I don't feel like I liked it more than Rogue Nation or Fallout, but it's still really, really good.
I have to admit, the action was amazing. I think I liked some of the previous Mission Impossibles a little bit more. But I'm still excited for the second one.
Heck yeah, we're going to be in the theaters, butts and seats, watching it with a whole tub of popcorn. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and give our rating for Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1. Dustin, what is your rating? Ratings. Sorry, movie couple ratings are a little bit different. It's not numbers, it's not grades. It's listed for you in the video description for you to take a look.
Overall, we know what we're getting into when we go to a Mission Impossible movie. We're looking for insane stunts. We're looking for cool action. We're looking for cool gadgets. And we're looking for the fun dynamic between the characters that we have come to know and love. And it delivers on a lot of those. There are a lot of moments, though, that the story does kind of stall. There's some moments that seem a little melodramatic or they don't quite fit into place. But overall, it is still a good time. I still recommend seeing it in the theater, but I'm going to say matinee it.
Ooh, I'm going to give it a check it out. I love this franchise. It is a very entertaining movie, even though the second part does, should I say, Act 2 stalls a little bit. And I don't want to say overusage of humor because I don't think it's that, but more than what we're used to, I guess. It just felt like it didn't feel natural, feel like it didn't fit. But other than that, it's a great film, and I'm going to say this is a check it out because I will never, ever not see a Mission Impossible not in theaters. So does that make sense?
Yes. You'll always watch Mission Impossible. I will always watch it in
theaters. I will always watch it in theaters. So with that said, that is our thoughts, non-spoiler thoughts on the film. Let us know your thoughts when you've seen it in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you in the next one.